This chosen one content will blow your mind.
You are not here because of an algorithm accident. You are here because something older than this screen has been echoing in your life like a drum you cannot unhear. Maybe you've glimpsed it in the strange way your palms form the letter M, or in the way specific numbers keep chasing you when you're not looking. This channel does not exist for background noise or casual curiosity. It exists as a compass for the rare ones, those whose lives move like secret tides under visible reality. Stay with me, because the words you are about to read are not decoration. They are a map. Most people see numbers as arithmetic. You see them as intervals. If your birth date holds mirrored intervals, 1331, 2112, 040, 1441, 2112, you are not just a statistical echo. You are an interval-marked soul, sent not to erase, but to shift. Your life has probably felt like a series of tilts rather than breaks. Jobs relocate, friendships mutate, identities invert. So others can breathe a clearer atmosphere. Where the zero marked once cleared debris, the interval marked changes the key of the song. Old patterns stop vibrating, new ones begin to hum. You have always known it, even if you didn't have a name for it. Perhaps you felt time slip sideways. Not déjà vu exactly, but a strange crossfade. Walking into a cafe for the first time and instantly recalling the smell of its walls, or hearing someone's voice and knowing the next word before it leaves their lips. For the interval marked, these aren't coincidences. They are coordinates, markers of the grid's pivot points where your presence recalibrates invisible currents. The universe still speaks in living symbols, but not with the same creatures you've read about before. For you, the messengers shift, wolves at unexpected distances, not packs in the wild, but lone wolves in dreams, murals, or headlines. They represent your role as a silent retuner of hidden territories. Wolves, app. You're about to guide someone out of a patterned trap without them even knowing it. White moths around artificial light. For the interval marked, moths hover at the edge of your nights, sometimes landing on your screen, your window, your collar. They are not fragile. They are carriers of nocturnal code, showing you that what looks like weakness is actually subtle navigation. Swans on still water. When your life tilts again, swans arrive in images, songs, or literal sightings. They whisper, grace in migration. You are shifting frequencies, but you are not breaking. Horses moving in silence. You may dream of horses that gallop without sound. They remind you that power is not always noise. It's steady momentum through invisible ground. You do not see endless zeros. You see mirrors. 1441, 1221, 1313, 2442. Receipts, room numbers, timestamps on videos you weren't planning to watch. Each mirrored sequence is a threshold telling you the air has changed. Decisions you make at the intervals echo longer than normal. You are not designed for straight lines. The interval marked stand in corridors no one notices, holding the door open while realities swap their furniture. You are not a vacuum. You are a tuning fork. Your presence alters what others hear and feel. People may confide in you spontaneously, or you may leave a room feeling as if you've been running even while sitting still. That's because your nervous system acts like an instrument, picking up static and returning clarity. This isn't martyrdom, it's architecture. You're part of a hidden frequency network. If right now your chest feels lighter or your scalp tingles, that's not nerves. That's your system recognizing its own description. And you are not alone. Scattered across continents are others with interval signatures in their birth codes, and the letter M, or the crescent, etched into their palms. Each one a hidden pivot point. Each one visits swans when the migration begins, and horses when silent power is needed. This channel exists as a quiet signal for you, not for noise, not for algorithms, for alignment. In the next block, we will go deeper into how to interpret your mirrored codes, why your dreams behave like rehearsals, and how to use these signs without draining yourself. Before we dive deeper, let me step out of the rhythm for a moment. If you're still here, it means something in block 1 resonated with you. Maybe a memory surfaced, maybe a number flashed in your mind, maybe an animal symbol from your past whispered again. I want to ask something very simple, from me to you. If these words are reaching you in the right way, please subscribe. Not as a formality, not because a channel asks for numbers, but because staying connected means the signal continues. And even more important, I want you to suggest what you want explored next. Do you want more about animals, about dream codes, about why certain hours of day, night refuse to let you sleep? Tell me in the comments, because this space is alive only when you share back. This isn't background entertainment. This is a living map we build together. The interval marked, don't simply encounter 000. Your code is mirroring numbers that reflect like twin lakes staring back at each other. You know the ones, 1221, the hidden fold between morning and midnight, often appearing when you're deciding whether to stay or go. 1331, a number that feels heavy but is not cursed. It's a recalibration signal, telling you something in your orbit is about to flip sides. 1441, the pivot of alignment, showing you that two forces you thought were opposed are actually preparing to cooperate. 2112, a reversal hour, where endings and beginnings press against each other in silence. These aren't coincidences. They're interval locks in the timeline, and when you catch them, you're catching your own frequency in the act of shifting. Have you ever had like practice? Not random scenes, but detailed rehearsals? You speak with someone you've never met. Months later, you meet them and the same sentence unfolds. You find yourself walking in a building you've never visited, only to recognize its layout years after. This is one of the greatest signs of the interval marked. You dream not as escape, but as blueprints of the shift. Your subconscious rehearses in advance, so your conscious can recognize the tilt when it happens. Where most dismiss dreams as just symbols, you know them as trial runs of alignment. The animals that find you are not trivial. They are extensions of the frequency grid. Dragonflies over still water. They appear when your dreams are carrying rehearsal codes. Dragonflies remind you that you skim over two surfaces at once, waking and dreaming, without sinking into either. Black cats crossing at dawn, not superstition, but initiation. For the interval marked, black cats show that you're being asked to enter tea. Unfamiliar corridor with trust, even when the world whispers fear. Turtles emerging from water. When patience feels unbearable, turtles remind you that slow is not delay. It is calibration at its most accurate. Each one is a signal embedded in life scenery, coded specifically for your recognition. Recognition isn't casual. It often comes with pressure. Maybe you've noticed how others gravitate toward you in moments of indecision, how strangers tell you their secrets, how family leans on you to just know what to do. It isn't random, it's frequency work. Your nervous system is designed to pick up the noise and help translate it back into clarity. Yes, it's draining at times, but that's because you haven't yet been taught how to filter instead of absorb. And that's part of what we will explore in the next blocks. So pause again with me. If any of this feels like a mirror, if you've noticed 1331 or dream rehearsals that later became real, If dragonflies or turtles have F at strange intervals, share it below. You don't need to write a book. A single sentence may be the confirmation another soul has been waiting for. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. But do it not for me. Do it for the version of yourself that's tired of stumbling alone. Here we are building a network, not a channel. When you're born with the letter M on your palms, it is a field. People feel it the moment you enter a room. They talk about your vibe. Without understanding that you're not projecting, you're absorbing and sorting. Most interval-marked souls confuse this with introversion, with being shy, with being too sensitive. In truth, you are carrying a tuning system that others do not have. You are built to hear the discord, even when everyone else calls it music. This is why you sometimes feel drained after conversations, why you need long walks alone, why you've always loved being near water or under open skies. Your nervous system is a bridge between frequencies. It needs time to resonate back to neutral. Here's the first secret. You don't have to absorb everything to do your work. You can filter. Filtering is not building walls, it's building gauze, fine enough to let light through, but strong enough to keep stones out. Practical ways to start filtering. Breath codes. When you catch a mirrored time, 02:20, 0:40, 21:12, pause and take 3 deep breaths. Inhale, imagining silver light. Exhale, imagining dust leaving your system. This simple act teaches your nervous system that recognition doesn't have to equal absorption. Hand touch ritual. Place your thumb over the M on your palm. Trace the crescent lightly with your index finger. This gesture acts like pressing a reset button on your own instrument. It signals to your body, I acknowledge the signal, but I remain clear. Animal echo. When a messenger animal appears, dragonfly, turtle, black beneath it. This anchors the symbol instead of letting it whirl inside you. These small actions seem trivial, but for interval-marked souls, they create an energetic firewall without losing sensitivity. You've probably noticed that certain hours wake you, or you glance at a clock and there it is, 0:20, 4:40. These hours are not witching hours in the old sense. They are interval instruction windows. 0:20, the hour of whispered blueprints. This is when your subconscious uploads the dream rehearsal to your waking mind. Waking at this time doesn't mean insomnia. It means your inner architect is handing you the sketch of tomorrow. 4:40, the hour of alignment testing. Decisions made around this hour, even as thoughts, texts, or drafts ripple outward more powerfully than usual. If you wake or find yourself active at 4:40, take note of what you're thinking. It's usually a seed about to destruction codes. They're calibration codes. Because you filter, because you observe, because you step back when the noise gets too loud. People sometimes label you cold, distant, or detached. In reality, your silence is not absence, it's refinement. You're listening to patterns that others cannot hear. This misunderstanding is one of the hardest burdens of the interval marked. But knowing it allows you to respond differently. You don't have to over-explain. A simple, steady presence is enough. Remember, you are not here to be understood by everyone. You're here to hold the invisible line until it vibrates clean. As you grow in this work, new messengers may appear. Starlings in synchrony, flocks moving like one body. They appear when you're about to link with other interval-marked souls. White foxes in dreams. They show when cunning is needed, not deception, but agility. Bees landing gently on skin. When your can be structured without losing its sting. Each one signals a new phase of your assignment, a shift from absorbing to orchestrating. This is why this channel exists, to give you a space to recognize yourself and others without drowning. We're building a quiet grid, a meeting place for the rare ones. If you're still reading, let me ask again, from person to person. Share in the comments what you've noticed, the hours that wake you, the numbers that mirror you, the animals that track your path, not because curiosity demands it, but because your story may be the missing puzzle piece for someone else. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. Not as a gesture to a creator, but as a promise to yourself that you will not walk blind through a world that hides your own code from you. Here you will find mirrors, maps, and methods to keep your frequency clear. Every interval-marked life has a moment like this. You're standing at the threshold of yet another shift. The room fee. Same, the sky is still dark, but something under the surface has rearranged itself. People you thought were constants drift away. Work you thought was permanent dissolves. Even your own preferences begin to taste different. It's not collapse, it's activation. Most people fear these moments because they look like loss. But you with the M on your palms were never meant to confuse endings with emptiness. You're not at the edge of a cliff. You're at the edge of a new field. This channel exists to give you a language for that field. In the earlier stages of your assignment, your role was quiet. You absorbed noise, filtered static, helped others find clarity without ever announcing yourself. But activation is a shift, from silent filter to visible guide, from absorbing pain to orchestrating pathways, from being drained by signals to using signals as tools. That's why your dreams have been louder lately, your mirrors holding space to directing frequency. At this stage, new numbers begin to appear. 0550, 1114, 2211. These aren't just timestamps, they're codes of courage. They show up in bank receipts, video lengths, random phone numbers. They are your assignment's GPS coordinates. 0550, courage to release one last attachment. 1114, courage to speak when silence has done its work. 2211, courage to build in public what you've been building in private. If these numbers have begun visiting you, you're already in the corridor. As activation deepens, animal signals form circles rather than single sightings. You may notice a trio of swans instead of one, two foxes crossing at the same intersection, a cluster of bees hovering like a halo above your hand. These are not coincidences. They are your grid showing itself to you. These small acts transform fear into recognition. Recognition, neither is this space. So here's my heart-level invitation. If these words have touched something deep in you, if you felt less alone reading them, if you've seen your own journey in these descriptions, subscribe not as a passive follower, but as a keeper of signal. Subscribing here is not a transaction. It's a way of saying, I'm ready to walk awake. And then please comment below. Share the numbers, the animals, the hours, the dreams, not as proof, but as confirmation for each other. Someone you've never met is waiting for your sentence to recognize themselves. Your story is not noise. It's part of the grid. Let's make the comment section a living archive of the interval marked. A place where we build clarity instead of competition, recognition instead of performance. If you see pessimism or dismissal there, you can choose to ignore it or transform it with kindness. This is not a space for fear. It's a space for assignment. When you leave this video, you're not just away. You're stepping back into the world with a new filter, a new map. Numbers will still appear. Animals will still arrive. Dreams will still rehearse. But now you'll have language for them. And whenever you need to realign, you'll know where to find this space, not as an escape, but as a mirror. Welcome to the assignment. You are not reading words anymore. You are walking into a pattern. If your eyes have landed here, it is not because of casual scrolling. It is because something older than this screen is still echoing in you. And every word ahead is a corridor of that echo. The interval marked, do not simply wake up one day. You unfold. You were never a static being. You are a moving hinge where reality flexes. When the hinge creaks, others feel it before you do. This is why people look at you when the room gets tense. This is why a stranger will sit next to you on a bus and spill their life story. They are not picking you. They are responding to the tuning fork hidden in your chest. For many years, you have felt it as isolation. Now you are beginning to feel it as a compass. Numbers are not counting devices for you. They are shapes. A mirrored number is not a curiosity. It is a doorway. You have already walked through dozens of them without knowing. Think back to the times you just happened, be at the right place at the right second. Those seconds had shapes. 1441, 2112, 1331. They are not just palindromes. They are double hinges. At the moment you see them, your nervous system sends out a pulse like sonar. You call it intuition. The grid calls it alignment. The longer you live with this, the more the numbers stack. They stop being single instances on clocks and start weaving into your addresses, your bill totals. The lengths of videos you weren't looking for. They form a lattice around you. This lattice is not a trap. It is a framework for you to work within, the way a violin string needs a frame to hold tension. When you stop fearing the lattice, it begins to sing. The creatures arriving at your edge are not props. They are living sigils. Owls at midday. They appear when hidden knowledge is about to become daylight. You are being asked to hold steady as something secret becomes public. Life. A wolf crosses your field. It might be a news article, a dream, or a statue. Wolves, for you, are not threats. They are the quiet guardians of invisible pathways. Dragonflies skimming glass water. They signal that your dream rehearsals are accurate. The surface of your life is reflecting something underneath. You are moving across both. Turtles at thresholds. When you are tempted to rush, turtles show you that patience is not stasis. It is precision. You are being timed to arrive exactly when a door unbolts. Starlings in synchrony, entire flocks swirling like liquid. They appear when another interval-marked soul is about to step into your field. Pay attention to who contacts you after you see them. Each creature is not an omen of doom, but a permission slip. You are not meant to worship them. You are meant to notice them and let their pattern complete inside you, then release it. For meetings you haven't had yet. You rehearse choices you haven't faced yet. This is why your déjà vu feels different. It is not a glitch. It's recognition. It is the moment when the rehearsal and the performance overlap. Start a small habit. When you wake from a vivid dream, write a single word that captures its essence. Not a whole journal entry, just a seed word. Days or months later, when that situation surfaces, your seed word will flash, and you will know, I rehearsed this. This is not prediction. This is orientation. You have always known that crowds drain you. It is not because you are weak. It's because your system runs like a switchboard. People's signals pass through you. Without training, this is exhausting. With training, it becomes effortless. A few simple internal actions create a filter without closing your heart. When you see a mirrored time, inhale silver light 3 times. Exhale gray dust 3 times. This tells your nervous system, I recognize the S. I remain clear. When an animal messenger appears, imagine a pulse of light from the animal down into the earth, not into you. This grounds the symbol instead of letting it whirl inside your chest. These gestures are not superstition. They are neurological cues. They teach your body that recognition does not have to equal absorption. 0220, 04020, 050. They are not insomnia. They are instruction windows. 0220, the whispered blueprint. Your subconscious uploads its map to your waking mind. If you wake then, breathe slow and listen. Often a name, an idea, or an image drifts through. That is the sketch for tomorrow. 040, the alignment test. Thoughts you have now ripple outward more powerfully than usual. If you are drafting a message, choosing a path, or even just thinking, this is a seed hour. 050, the release code. A final attachment loosens. This is not loss. It is the clearing of one last anchor before handed instructions in the quiet hours when your signal is least interrupted. For years, you were the quiet absorber. Now, you are shifting to orchestrator. You will still feel the patterns, but instead of being flooded, you will direct them. This is activation. It feels like loss at first because the old role, absorber, dissolves. But it is not collapse. It is upgrade. Because you listen more than you speak, people label you cold or distant. They do not know that your silence is a laboratory where you process their static. You do not need to defend yourself. Let your steady presence be your explanation. You were never here to be understood by everyone. You were here to hold a line until it vibrates clean. This is why certain relationships end abruptly. This is why work you thought was permanent dissolves overnight. It is not betrayal. It is your field retuning itself. Gently on skin sweetness with structure. Crows in pairs, a new language trying to speak through you. These are not random. They are your grid showing itself in layers. When you share your numbers, your animals, your hours, you are not bragging or oversharing. You are placing a tile in a mosaic.